Okay, sellers are panicking. The market isn't moving like they need it to move, regardless of whatever they say on the news.
Life update for those who care. I just took my house off the market and I'm going to tell you why. Before I get into this, I want to make sure that I mention I am not an expert. I'm just talking about what I've seen in my neighborhood, okay? I listed my house 23 days ago, and at the time, there were only two houses for sale. Both of them had been sitting on the market for a little over 30 days. As soon as I listed, four more houses for sale, including my neighbor. And since then, there's been two more. I don't like competition, so I took my house off. But that's not the only reason. I started going just a little bit outside of my neighborhood to see how long those houses were sitting. 75 days, 89 days. Your girl know how to take a hint. If houses are not selling and they're sitting, I'm not about to have the house on the market right now. It's just not a good time, obviously. So I started doing some research because I'm thinking I can't be the only person going through this. I ended up finding this article. Two states where home prices are falling because there are too many houses and not enough buyers. They are talking about Florida and Texas. Now, the experts say that we're not going to have a housing market crash, but it looked like it. So anyway, I'm just gonna wait until after the market cools down a little bit and then I'll try again.
Yeah, it really does look like it. The market's not going to cool down for a while.
So this is day 101 of our house being on the market. It's been frustrating to say the least. During the first month, we did get an offer, but it was over 100 grand below our asking price, and we kind of scoffed at it and turned them down, thinking we would wait because it was only, the first month. So
And that happens a lot, sellers. If you're a seller, you're trying to sell your home, know that you're always going to get that element of low ball once your house has been on the market a couple of weeks. So if it's been a couple of weeks, a month, or even 3 weeks, doesn't matter. You're going to get people that are going to lowball your house, and they're lowballing it because they don't know the situation. So don't take offense. They're doing it simply because they're most of the time they're investors. They're running a metric, a rhythm, a buy box, say rhythm, a buy box, which says at this price point we offer this amount, 70%, 80% of the value of the house, because we know we need to make 20%, 25% profit. So they base that off of the after repair value, the ARV. So when you see that lowball offer come, understand they're not trying to steal your house, even though it feels like it's being stolen. They're just simply telling you, based on us as buyers and our desires, our metric, we have to be here to purchase it. And you can decide if you want to do it or not. It's all up to you.
101, and we have not had any offers since then. So we're kind of second guessing ourselves if we should have accepted that first offer, because we have already packed up most of our home, so that we can move before our kids start. We have one starting junior high and one starting high school, so we kind of wanted to make the transition. But feels like it's a little bit too late since school just started. So yeah, trying to figure out what to do. Any advice? Thanks.
Tons of sellers out here trying to figure out what to do.
The housing market is a hot mess. And when I say hot, I mean a hot ass mess. Houston in July, hot ass mess when it's like 112 degrees outside. Okay, literally.
So, give you a concept what she was about to roll into. We have way more sellers than we have buyers. So that's why a buyer will lowball you, because it's a buyer's market. And a buyer's market simply means that the buyers, they don't outnumber the sellers, they're actually less than the sellers. So in this situation, when you have buyers that are less than the sellers, fewer buyers mean when you raise your hand to buy a house, guess what? They're going to listen to you because there's not too much competition out there they can shop their deal or their house to. So that makes the market for a lot of agents and people out there seem like trash, especially since the National Association of Realtors have decided, along with the DOJ, that buyers agents no longer can be paid by the sellers. Well, they can be paid, but it has to be negotiated, and it's not something that they get just because they show up with a buyer, which to me is a great thing. But it does also now mean that these buyers have to pay money out of their pocket for their agents. That 3% on that house on that $100,000 house means $3,000 more in addition to their closing costs, which some buyers have a 3.5% down payment, whether they're using FHA. It may be 5% to 10% if they're using conventional. But let's say it's 5%. They're putting 5% down on a conventional loan. That's $5,000 on a $100,000 loan. They're also going to pay 3% to that agent if they don't negotiate with that agent for that $3,000. So now where they had $5,000 down and they probably had some closing costs to pay too from the lender, that's typically about 3%, 3.5, sometimes 4, depending on their situation. But we'll put it at 3 right now, just for the sake of conversation. That's $3,000 on top of that $5,000 for closing costs, then an additional $3,000 to cover their agent. That's why the market is doing what it's doing. You're talking about now an additional 11%, an 11% increase that they have to pay. 11%. Where in the past we knew that it was at least close to $8,000 or 8%, that 5 and then that 3. Now we're in a different place, and that means more buyers have to come off of money saved or either get the sellers to cover it. If the seller doesn't cover their agent's fee, guess what? They have to pay the agent. So fewer buyers are getting out now. And in some ways, that's good. That's healthy because we know if you buy the house, you can definitely afford a house. But in some ways, it's bad too, because you can't buy a house, okay? And that $3,000 that you would pay your agent shouldn't keep you from purchasing a house. The market is changing. It's not the way that it used to be before. That's why some sellers can't sell their home.
That big of a hot mess. I just took a video, and I'm going to put it somewhere on here, of my street. There are 6 homes around me, and I'm in a brand new build neighborhood, by the way, and they are all for rent or lease. Okay, big companies came in and bought all of the rest of the homes on my street to make them into permanent rental homes. And the housing over here is a little bit affordable because it's outside the city, it's in the suburbs. So you could get you a brand new build, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, front yard, backyard, sprinkler system. I mean, for about like $220, $225. Okay, the rest of the nation, that's like unheard of.
But and the caveat to this, the change to this, think about it. If you've got an institution like that buying up 10 houses, 15 houses, you got to realize they're buying it because, one, there's not enough buyers to buy it. So the builders got to sell it to somebody, okay? Or the builder themselves can be liable and file bankruptcy and go into foreclosure, all these different things, which we saw in 2008, 2007. But in this situation, they chose to sell it to an investor, which benefits her. At least she's not dealing with the neighborhood with vacant homes. Now, she may not want to have renters there, but who can say? They may be great people. But at the end of the day, that's what she's left with. Now, the other side to that, too, is this. You got fewer buyers and you got less homes, too. So that means that the homes that are actually out there for the sellers that want to sell can actually be purchased by buyers that want to buy. They can get off the fence and actually buy now.
Here in Texas, we know it's a little bit more affordable, and that's considered high compared to what it used to be. As a native Houstonian, that's high as hell for what I bought. But it was a brand new build, and I wanted brand new. I didn't want no problems. So, hey. And I got like 4.5% interest rate. But
now, a house that's a starter home in Houston, I'm not 100% aware with the Houston market. I keep up a little bit. I see some things here and there. That's pretty low, 170 to 220 for a starter home. But I'm looking at that, of course, based on Atlanta numbers because I'm in the Atlanta area. Of course, in Atlanta, average home price, starting home price, median home price, well, average median, $385,000 as of this recording. Before it was somewhere around 410 to 425. And that was roughly about a year ago. But it's been dropping steadily as, of course, less buyers are able to buy. Sellers have to reduce their prices. That makes it great for the buyer that can buy to actually find a deal. And it does suck for the seller who probably have to give up some of their equity to make this thing work. But this is the way that it works when you're talking about it. When you're speaking about it, this is the way that it works. And we don't have any starter homes really that are around that 170 to 220 price point. Not that doesn't require a good amount of work, or even none that are really close to the perimeter or close to the city of Atlanta. You would have to go further away, further out for that. And some people aren't ready to go that far.
Big companies are coming in as like, oh, brand new neighborhood. Yeah, let us buy like 6 of those homes. Give us a small discount. We pay y'all cash. They swipe up these brand new bills and then put a for lease sign in the front of it.
And that's the way it's done with the large institutional investors or people that you hear Trump saying he's going to stop them from doing that. In this type of market, I don't know if that's the best thing to do, because you're going to have a lot of builders that possibly will go under foreclosure if they can't get their inventory sold to someone that has the capability of even buying it, can close it, and will even manage it, and the neighborhood won't go to ham, you know?
According to Google, searches for why I cannot sell my house are at a 10-year high. Now, I'm not sure when Google started tracking this, but if you pay attention to the graph, you will see that right now we have more sellers searching for why they can sell their home. I can tell you as a real estate agent right now, this is the slowest market that I have seen since I got my license. A lot of homes are sitting on the market with no activities, and the ones that they are getting offers, a lot of them, the offers are coming significantly under the asking price. Now, of course, every market is different. There are still markets where the sellers have the upper hand, but most markets in America are in a buyer's market. The inventory is also increasing in a lot of areas around the country. In some areas, we have 40-50% more inventory than we had in 2019. Now, as someone that was active in real estate in 2019, I can tell you in the area where I work, 2019 was a balanced market, but the buyers were having the upper hand. And I'm a firm believer that if COVID would not happen, the real estate market would have been completely different in 2020, 2021, and 2022. And if you're thinking about buying a house, please click the link in bio for how to buy a house without a real estate agent. That will teach you exactly how to use that commission check into your own benefit.
Shout out to the creator on that one right here. So this is what's happening all around the country. This is what's happening all around the country. Some markets are better than others. And I tell you, you got to remember, real estate is so local. So when I speak about it, I can only speak about it from the Atlanta market, probably in the Georgia market, and some parts of the Southeast also. But every market is different. And for that reason, some markets have more inventory than they have buyers. And some markets, they're still hot. I mean, they're legit still hot and on fire. I think the buyers right now, if they're ready to go, if you're a buyer and you're ready to go, this is probably the perfect time for you to buy. This is your golden opportunity. How long would it last? Nobody knows. I can't say it. But as long as these rates stay as low as they have been, because I remember when my parents bought their home and I asked my father, how much was his rate? I think my mom told me that it was north of 12%. So we are in still a great market. It's not the 70s and 90s, the 80s and 90s market where the rates are crazy high. But I do understand at the same time that money hasn't been keeping up. Wages haven't been keeping up with inflation too. So you're getting a whole lot less for the same amount of money you probably would have gotten more for around pre-COVID period. Yeah, who knows? Like, subscribe, follow for more content, and listen. If you are interested in finding any real estate deals, just look at the link in the description of my main YouTube channel. You'll be able to jump on our off-market property list, and we're simply going to send you every Friday property that hits the market. And if you're a real estate agent and you want to actually deal with investors and help them buy more property, I've got a PDF for you to download below too that'll help you hit 6 figures working with real estate investors. I'll see you guys on the next video. Be blessed.